everyone, my name is Maria and welcome to my YouTube channel. Since this is my first video, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself. So I am from Venezuela originally, but I've been living in Germany for almost 5 years now. I came to Germany together with my husband to study our master's degrees in engineering at RWTH Aachen University. Even though I already finished my studies and have been working full-time for about 2 years now, I thought I would share with you some of my experience. So let's get started with some of the most important things that I think that you should consider when applying to master's programs in Germany. So the first one being the timing. My husband and I started applying to master's programs about 1 year before actually coming to Germany, although we did take care of most of our important documents sometime before that. My recommendation would be to start as soon as you can to organize all of the documentation that you'll need, such as university transcripts and certificates, as soon as you graduate from your bachelor's degrees, since this may take some time. The timing factor is important because of the second point that I'll be mentioning, which is documentation. So depending on the country that you're coming from, you will need to invest more or less time into legalizing all of your documents, getting official copies, getting official translations, among other things. So this is important to consider within your timeline. The documents that you will need will, of course, vary depending on the university program that you're applying to. So for example, if you're applying to an MBA program, you will likely be asked to provide your GMAT certificate, so your GMAT test results. But for me, for example, I was applying to engineering programs, so I had to provide GRE test results. So this varies from program to program, although there are many common documents that are the same for any university that you're planning to apply to. So again, university degrees and transcripts will be asked pretty much by every university that you apply. So my next point would be setting a budget. So setting a budget is probably one of the most important things that you have to consider when applying to university programs in Germany. So you'll either be able to finance your tuition expenses completely by your own means, or like most of us, will need to search for some sort of scholarship opportunity or financing option out there. My recommendation here would be, first of all, to not limit yourself to apply only to those free tuition or low tuition programs. The reason for this being the existence of scholarships. So there are some scholarship opportunities out there, be it through organizations that offer scholarships to citizens of your own country, or through the universities that you're applying to themselves. But for most of these opportunities, before applying, you will need to have an actual admission letter in hand. So this way, don't get spooked by the apparently high tuition expenses at the beginning, because there are options that could help you out later along the line. Now, these expenses are only referring to the tuition costs themselves. After you arrive to Germany, there will be other expenses that you'll have to consider, such as living costs, transportation, and insurance, which we can get more into detail in a further video. You will also need to set aside some money for the application process itself. So there may be some hidden expenses while you're applying, such as delivery costs for documents that you need to send by mail, legalization costs, university fees for emitting official documents. This you should keep in mind as well while setting your budget. So the next point is probably the fun part, which is actually selecting your university program. So I discovered my program through the DAAD or DAAD database. This is the website for the German Academic Exchange Service. So they have this great database where you can access all of the study programs that are available in Germany. So you can filter by field of study, language, tuition fees, etc. And it's a really great tool because it has access to absolutely all of the programs that you can study for in Germany. So the DAAD database is a great tool to search for all of the university opportunities that are out there and start your initial search list. Based on the criteria that you enter, you can funnel down which are the university programs that you're interested in. After you have sort of this initial list, you can then go into the website of each university to get the most up-to-date information on each university program. My next point is actually your personal organization. So since you'll be handling large amount of information, documents, deadline at the same time, I would recommend that you have some sort of organizational system that will allow you to manage everything and stay on top of things. So be it an Evernote file, a Google Drive, or even just a piece of paper and a pen, you will need to have everything organized in order to stay on top of things. So this is going to be super helpful later down the line when you're preparing for your travels or you're preparing for enrollment at the university, since you'll have everything organized, and even some years down the line. So if you decide to start working in Germany, you will be able, for example, to file your tax declaration based on all the expenses that you had when you were applying to university and expect a significant tax return. So it really is quite useful to be very organized and have all of your receipts and documents in order. I would recommend even to have digital copies and have them organized by folder online. So my last and final point is a bit different than the previous ones, and it's actually to know how to manage your expectations. So during this entire process, it can be quite overwhelming to apply to study programs in another country, let alone another continent, and it can be quite overwhelming and daunting. As well, it can be quite demotivating when you receive at some point rejection letters or if things don't go according to plan. The important thing here is to have the right mindset and accept that this is part of the process. So you will have universities that don't accept you and others that will. So it's really important to keep that positive mentality and just keep pushing through even if things don't go according to plan. In the end, you have to keep in mind that you only need to be accepted into one university program, which is the one that you'll finally be attending. You won't be accepted into all of them, and that's absolutely okay. Nobody is going to be accepted into each and every university program they apply to. It's also a game of probability. So the more universities that you apply to, the higher the chances that you get accepted into any one of them. So those are my top 6 tips or recommendations that I think you should follow if you're thinking of applying to master's degree programs in Germany. And if you're interested in learning more about the tips and information that I gave before, I will be going further into detail into this with some upcoming videos. So stay tuned, and I hope you have a great day.